The handcuffs closed around her wrists in the middle of the Richardson Grand Hotel lobby. 73 guests watched. Phones out. Recording everything. Amelia Richardson stood perfectly still while the officer recited her rights. Trespassing. Attempted fraud. Criminal impersonation. She didn't resist. Didn't argue. Just looked at the man who'd called the police. Ethan Whitmore, CEO, standing 20 feet away with his arms crossed. Smiling. "I told you to leave," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "But you people never listen. You people." Those two words, caught on 17 different cameras. And what Ethan didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know, was that in exactly 4 minutes, FBI agents would walk through those same lobby doors. Not for her. For him. Because the woman he just had arrested, she didn't just own this hotel. She owned 51% of it. Majority stake. Full control. And she'd brought evidence of every crime he'd committed over the last 8 years. Embezzlement. Fraud. Civil rights violations. In 4 minutes, Ethan Whitmore's entire world would collapse. But right now, he was still smiling. Still thinking he'd won. This is the story of how that smile disappeared. 24 hours earlier, Amelia sat in a small church in Atlanta. Her grandmother's funeral. Evelyn Richardson, 87 years old, raised Amelia after her parents died in a car accident when she was 13. The church was full. 200 people. All there to honor a woman who'd spent her life teaching, mentoring, building community. Amelia sat in the front row. Black dress. Dry eyes. She'd cried herself empty 3 days ago. After the service, people approached. Offered condolences. Shared memories. Then Lucas Carter found her. "Amelia, I'm so sorry for your loss." Lucas had been the family attorney for 30 years. Handled her grandfather's estate. Her parents' wills. Now her grandmother's. "Thank you for coming, Lucas." "Of course. Listen, I need to talk to you about something." "Not here. Can we meet tomorrow?" "My office." "What's this about?" Lucas glanced around. Lowered his voice. "Your inheritance. There's something your grandmother wanted you to know. Something about your grandfather's hotel." "The Richardson Grand? I thought that was sold years ago." "It wasn't. And we need to talk. Tomorrow. 9 a.m. It's urgent." The next morning, Amelia sat across from Lucas in his downtown Atlanta office. He slid a folder across the desk. "Your grandfather, Alexander Richardson, founded the Richardson Grand Hotel in 1985. He started with nothing. Built it into one of the most successful luxury hotels in the Southeast. I know the story, but you don't know this part. When Alexander needed capital to expand in 1990, he brought in a partner. Richard Whitmore Sr. They structured it as 51-49. Alexander kept majority control. Always." Amelia opened the folder. Legal documents. Stock certificates. All bearing her grandfather's name. When your grandfather died in 2010, his shares passed to your grandmother through his will. She never touched them. Never interfered with the hotel's operations. Just collected dividends. Why didn't she tell me? Because she wanted you to finish school. Become a lawyer. Build your own life without the weight of this legacy. But in her will, she left everything to you, including those shares." Lucas pulled out another document. "As of yesterday, you own 51% of the Richardson Grand Hotel. You're the majority shareholder. The controlling interest." Amelia stared at the papers. "Who owns the other 49%? "Ethan Whitmore. Richard's son. He's been CEO for 8 years. And there's a problem." "What kind of problem?" Lucas pulled out more documents. Financial statements. Internal memos. Email printouts. 2 months ago, we received an anonymous tip. Someone inside the hotel. They claimed Ethan was planning to restructure ownership. Dilute your grandmother's shares through a complex reorganization scheme. Can he do that? Not legally. Not without majority shareholder approval. But if he didn't know your grandmother was still alive, or if he thought the shares had reverted to the company somehow, he might try anyway. Exactly. And there's more. This anonymous source also sent evidence of financial irregularities. Missing funds. Altered records. Suspicious transactions. Lucas spread the papers across his desk. "I hired a forensic accountant. Quiet investigation. What we found. Amelia, Ethan Whitmore has been embezzling from the hotel for at least 5 years. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars." Amelia picked up one of the statements. Saw the numbers. The patterns. Her lawyer brain kicked in immediately. "How much?" "So far, we've confirmed $847,000. But we think it's more. Much more. Does he know you're investigating? No. We've been extremely careful. But here's the thing. There's an emergency board meeting scheduled for tomorrow. At the hotel. 2 p.m. The agenda item is ownership restructuring proposal. He's making his move. He is. And you need to be there. As the majority shareholder, you have the right to attend. To vote. To stop this. Amelia looked at the documents. At the evidence. At the proof of her grandfather's legacy and this man's crimes. I'll be there. Good. I'm coming with you. And I'm bringing someone else. Who? FBI Special Agent Mason Crawford. He's been looking at Ethan Whitmore for 2 years on an unrelated investigation. When I showed him what we found, he was very interested. You involved the FBI without telling me. I involved them because what Ethan's doing isn't just embezzlement. It's wire fraud, securities fraud, possibly money laundering. This is federal. Lucas leaned forward. Amelia, I've known you since you were 13. I watched you survive losing your parents. Put yourself through college and law school. Build a career. You're strong. But tomorrow is going to be hard. Why? Because Ethan Whitmore is a very powerful man. He's been running that hotel for 8 years. He has allies, connections, and when you walk in there claiming ownership, he's not going to just accept it. I have documentation. Documentation doesn't matter to men like him. What matters is power. And he's going to fight. Let him fight. I have the law on my side. Lucas smiled. Sad. Knowing. The law doesn't always win, Amelia. Not immediately. Not cleanly. You need to be ready for that. The Richardson Grand Hotel sat on 4 acres in the heart of the city. 15 stories. 200 rooms. 5-star luxury. Amelia had been there once. When she was 8. Before her grandfather died. She remembered marble floors. Crystal chandeliers. Her grandfather holding her hand and saying, "This is our family's legacy. We built this with dignity and hard work." Now she was back, 20 years later, walking through those same doors to claim what was hers. She dressed carefully. Black pantsuit. Professional, but not too formal. She wanted to look like someone who belonged, not someone trying too hard. Lucas was beside her, briefcase in hand. Behind them, 2 cars back, Mason Crawford and his partner Evelyn Monroe waited in an unmarked vehicle. "Remember the plan," Lucas said quietly as they approached the entrance. "We go to the front desk. Identify yourself. Ask to be directed to the board meeting. Stay calm. Don't engage if Ethan confronts you. And if he refuses to let me in, then we escalate. But let's hope it doesn't come to that." They walked into the lobby. It was exactly as Amelia remembered. Marble floors. Soaring ceilings. Elegant furniture arranged in conversation areas. Guests moving through. Staff in crisp uniforms attending to details. Beautiful. Professional. Her grandfather's vision made real. They approached the front desk where a black woman in her mid-30s smiled professionally. "Welcome to the Richardson Grand. How may I help you?" Her name tag read, Mia Bennett, front desk manager. "I'm here for the board meeting. Amelia Richardson." Mia's smile didn't waver, but something shifted in her eyes. Recognition. Surprise. "I'm sorry, could you repeat that name?" "Amelia Richardson. I'm expected at the 2 o'clock board meeting." Mia's fingers paused over her keyboard. "I don't have you on the list." "Check again." "Richardson. Richardson." Mia typed. Waited. Then looked up with genuine apology. "I'm sorry, Ms. Richardson, but I don't see your name. And the board meeting is private. Executive level only." Lucas stepped forward. Professional. Calm. "Ms. Bennett, I'm Lucas Carter, attorney representing Ms. Richardson. She's a shareholder in this hotel. She has every legal right to attend board meetings. Perhaps you could call upstairs and confirm?" Mia hesitated, then picked up the phone. "Let me speak with Mr. Whitmore's office." She turned slightly away, spoke quietly. Amelia couldn't hear the exact words, but she saw Mia's expression change. Confusion, then something like fear. Mia hung up. "Mr. Whitmore says there's been a mistake. There's no shareholder named Richardson, and he's asking you to leave the property." "There's no mistake," Amelia said. "And I'm not leaving. Ms. Richardson, I'm just relaying what I was told. If you don't have an appointment." "I don't need an appointment. I own 51% of this hotel." Mia's eyes widened. And that's when Ethan Whitmore emerged from the elevator bank. 52 years old. Silver hair. Expensive suit. The kind of confident walk that comes from never being told no. He crossed the lobby in long strides. Stopped 10 feet from Amelia. "Can I help you?" His voice was cold, dismissive. I'm Amelia Richardson. I'm here for the board meeting. Ethan looked her up and down. Slow, deliberate, making sure she felt evaluated. Richardson. That's interesting. Because the only Richardson I know died 15 years ago. So either you're confused or you're running some kind of scam. I'm not confused. And I'm not running a scam. I inherited my grandfather's shares. I'm the majority stakeholder in this hotel. And I have every right to attend that meeting. Ethan smiled. Not friendly. Predatory. Okay, let's say I believe you. Which I don't. But let's pretend. You still can't just walk in here claiming ownership without proper documentation. Without verification. Without. Lucas stepped forward. Pulled documents from his briefcase. Stock certificates. Transfer of ownership. Notarized will. Death certificate. Everything you need to verify Ms. Richardson's identity and stake. Ethan didn't even look at them. I'll have my lawyers review these. In the meantime, you need to leave. We're not leaving, Amelia said. The meeting starts in 15 minutes. I'm attending. No, you're not. They stood there, 10 feet apart. The lobby around them had gone quiet. Guests watching. Staff pretending not to watch, but absolutely watching. Mr. Whitmore, Lucas said carefully. Ms. Richardson has legal standing. If you prevent her from attending a board meeting where ownership restructuring is being discussed, you're violating her shareholder rights. That's grounds for a lawsuit. Multiple lawsuits. Then sue me. But she's not getting into that meeting. Ethan pulled out his phone. Dialed. Security? I have a trespasser in the lobby. 2 of them. I need them removed immediately. Amelia felt Lucas tense beside her. This is a mistake, Lucas said. A serious one. The only mistake was you two thinking you could walk in here with fake documents and… They're not fake, Amelia interrupted. Her voice sharp. Loud enough that everyone in the lobby heard clearly. And you know they're not fake. Because you've been trying to steal my family's ownership for months. You've been embezzling, committing fraud. And you thought no one would notice because my grandmother was elderly and I didn't know about the shares. Ethan's face went red. That's slander. And you're done talking. 2 security guards arrived. Large men. Professional. Mr. Whitmore, escort these 2 out of the building. If they resist, call the police. The guards looked uncomfortable. One of them glanced at Amelia. At Lucas. At the documents Lucas was still holding. Sir, maybe we should. I said remove them. Now. The guards moved forward. Lucas held up his hands. We're leaving. But this isn't over. Yeah, it is. They turned to walk out. And that's when Amelia made her decision. She stopped, turned around, and spoke loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. My name is Amelia Richardson. My grandfather, Alexander Richardson, founded this hotel 40 years ago. He built it with integrity, with vision, with the belief that everyone deserved respect and opportunity regardless of their background. People were definitely listening now. Phones coming out. When he died, his shares passed to my grandmother. And when she died last week, they passed to me. I own 51% of this hotel. I am the majority owner. And this man, she pointed at Ethan, has been embezzling from my family, from the staff, from everyone who works here. And today he was planning to vote himself full ownership through illegal restructuring. Ethan's jaw clenched. Security, get her out of here. But I'm not leaving, Amelia continued. Because this is my hotel. And I'm taking it back. Ethan pulled out his phone again. I'm calling the police. You want to play games? Fine. Let's see how you like being arrested for trespassing and fraud. Go ahead, Amelia said. Call them. Because she knew what Ethan didn't. Mason Crawford and Evelyn Monroe were 2 minutes away. And they weren't coming for her. Officer Logan Peters arrived 12 minutes later with his partner. Young, white, mid-30s, professional demeanor. Ethan met them at the entrance. Spoke to them quietly. Gestured toward Amelia and Lucas. Logan approached. Ma'am, I need you to come with me. On what charge? Trespassing. Criminal impersonation. Attempted fraud. Lucas stepped forward. Officer, this is a civil matter. Ms. Richardson has documentation proving her ownership. This is harassment. Sir, step back, please. Ma'am, put your hands behind your back. You're arresting me? Yes, ma'am. Logan pulled out handcuffs. And Amelia made another decision. She didn't resist. Didn't fight. Just turned around and let him cuff her. Because she knew the optics. Black woman being arrested in a luxury hotel. Claimed she owned the place. White CEO standing there watching. White officer putting her in handcuffs. Every phone in that lobby was recording. And in about 90 seconds, this was going to be the worst decision Logan Peters ever made. Lucas was protesting, loudly, for the recording. This is illegal detention. My client has committed no crime. I'm filing complaints with. Sir, if you don't step back, you'll be arrested too. Ethan watched the whole thing with satisfaction. I told you to leave, he said to Amelia. But you people never listen. You people. There it was. Caught on 17 cameras. Logan started walking Amelia toward the exit, reading her rights. You have the right to remain silent. And the lobby doors opened. Mason Crawford walked in. FBI credentials already out. Evelyn Monroe right behind him. Officer, stop. Logan turned. Saw the badge. Stopped. Mason walked straight to Amelia. Ms. Richardson, I'm Special Agent Mason Crawford, FBI. I apologize for this situation. Officer, uncuff her immediately. Logan looked confused. Sir, this woman was trespassing. This woman is Amelia Richardson, majority owner of this hotel. And you just arrested her on false charges. Uncuff her. Now. Logan hesitated. Then Mia spoke up from the front desk. Her voice shaking but clear. He's telling the truth. I remember now. Alexander Richardson. He used to come here all the time. And she? Mia looked at Amelia. You look just like him. The eyes. The way you stand. Oh my God. You really are his granddaughter. Logan slowly removed the handcuffs. Mason turned to Ethan. Ethan Whitmore? Who's asking? Mason held up his badge again. FBI. I have a warrant for your arrest. The lobby went completely silent. Ethan's face drained of color. What? Embezzlement. Wire fraud. Securities fraud. Conspiracy to commit fraud. You have the right to remain silent. This is insane. I'm the CEO of this hotel. I haven't done anything. You've embezzled $847,000 over 5 years. We have the bank records, the altered financial statements, the offshore accounts. We have everything. Evelyn stepped forward with handcuffs. Mr. Whitmore, hands behind your back. And Ethan Whitmore, CEO, power broker, man who'd spent the last 20 minutes having Amelia arrested, was handcuffed in the middle of his own hotel lobby. Guests were recording everything. Staff were watching with expressions ranging from shock to satisfaction. And Amelia Richardson stood there. Free. Vindicated. Mason looked at her. We've been investigating Mr. Whitmore for 2 years. Your attorney gave us the final pieces we needed. Thank you. Thank you for the timing. Mason smiled, then led Ethan toward the exit. As they passed, Ethan looked at Amelia, rage and disbelief in his eyes. This isn't over. Yes, Amelia said quietly. It is. They took him away, and the lobby erupted. People talking, staff hugging each other. Mia was crying behind the front desk. Logan Peters stood there looking stunned. Ms. Richardson, I apologize. I didn't know. You didn't ask. You didn't verify. You just believed him because he looked like someone who belonged here, and I didn't. Logan had no response. Lucas put a hand on Amelia's shoulder. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. The board meeting starts in 5 minutes. Then let's not be late. The boardroom was on the 14th floor. Panoramic windows. Mahogany table. 12 leather chairs. 10 of them were filled when Amelia walked in. Every head turned. The conversations stopped mid-sentence. Someone's coffee cup paused halfway to their mouth. A woman near the window actually stood up. Charlotte Hayes, 67 years old. White hair pulled back. Sharp eyes that had seen 4 decades of hotel industry warfare. She stared at Amelia like she was seeing a ghost. My God. Alexander. My grandfather, yes. I'm Amelia Richardson. Charlotte's hand went to her mouth. Then she was moving around the table. Fast for someone her age. You have his eyes. Exactly his eyes. I worked with your grandfather for 25 years. I was there when he opened this hotel. I was there when her voice caught. We all thought the Richardson line ended when Evelyn passed. We had no idea. That was intentional, Lucas said, entering behind Amelia. For protection. Harper Williams stood up next. The general manager, 40 years old, black man in an immaculate suit. He'd been running day-to-day operations for 6 years. Ms. Richardson, I don't know what to say. Ethan told us you were an imposter, that you were trying to scam the company. Ethan lied about a lot of things. Harper glanced at the empty chair at the head of the table. Ethan's chair. We heard he was arrested. FBI. Is that true? Very true, Mason said, walking in with Evelyn Monroe. And before this meeting proceeds, everyone needs to understand something. The FBI has been investigating financial crimes at this hotel for 2 years. We now have evidence of systematic embezzlement, fraud, and civil rights violations. This company is under federal scrutiny. The room erupted. People talking over each other. Questions. Denials. Panic. Charlotte raised her voice. Everyone sit down. Now. They sat. Charlotte looked at Amelia. You're the majority shareholder? 51%. Inherited from my grandmother last week. Then this is your meeting. Not Ethan's. You should sit there. Charlotte gestured to the head of the table. Amelia walked to the chair. Felt the weight of 10 pairs of eyes. Some curious. Some skeptical. Some openly hostile. She sat down. My name is Amelia Richardson. My grandfather founded this hotel in 1985. He built it on principles of excellence, integrity, and respect. For 40 years, the Richardson family has held majority ownership. That hasn't changed. What has changed is that I'm no longer content to be a silent partner. A man near the end spoke up. White. Late 50s. Expensive watch. With all due respect, Ms. Richardson, you can't just walk in here and take over. There are procedures, protocols. This company has been operating smoothly under Ethan's leadership for 8 years. Smoothly. Amelia pulled documents from Lucas's briefcase. Is embezzling $847,000 smooth? Is creating shell companies to funnel hotel profits into personal accounts smooth? Is systematically underpaying minority staff members while giving bonuses to white executives smooth? She slid the documents across the table. That's defamation, the man said. But his voice was weaker now. It's documentation, Lucas corrected. Bank records. Internal emails. Testimony from employees. All of it verified by forensic accountants and now in FBI possession. Mason stepped forward. I can't discuss an ongoing investigation, but I can tell you that criminal charges have been filed. More charges are coming. And anyone in this room who participated in or knowingly ignored financial crimes should lawyer up. Immediately. The silence was different now. Heavy. Frightened. Charlotte spoke carefully. What do you need from us, Amelia? Honesty. Cooperation. And loyalty to this hotel, not to Ethan. You have mine. You've always had mine. Your grandfather saved my career 30 years ago when no one else would hire a woman in hotel management. I owe the Richardson family everything. Thank you, Charlotte. Harper spoke next. You have mine too. I didn't know about the embezzlement. I swear. But I knew something was wrong. Money disappearing. Projects getting canceled. Staff complaints that went nowhere. I should have pushed harder. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Help me fix it. One by one, the board members pledged cooperation. Some enthusiastic, some reluctant, but all of them understood the reality. Amelia Richardson owned this hotel, and Ethan Whitmore was never coming back. After the meeting ended, Charlotte pulled Amelia aside. Walk with me. They went to the 14th floor terrace. Private, overlooking the city. Charlotte lit a cigarette. Offered one to Amelia. I don't smoke. Smart. I keep trying to quit. Charlotte took a long drag. Your grandfather and I used to stand here every Friday evening. 5 o'clock. Didn't matter what crisis was happening. We'd stand here, look at the city, and he'd tell me stories about building this place. What kind of stories? The real ones. Not the sanitized version. He told me about getting rejected by 17 banks because they didn't believe a black man could run a luxury hotel. About investors who'd meet with him, see his face, and suddenly have other commitments. About guests who'd check in, see him in the lobby, and demand to speak to the real owner. Charlotte's voice was soft. Sad. He never complained. Never got bitter. Just worked harder. Proved them wrong. By the time I met him in 1987, this hotel was the most successful in the region. And he'd done it with dignity. Why did he bring in Richard Whitmore as a partner? Because even Alexander couldn't do everything alone. He needed capital for expansion. Richard offered it. Fair terms. 49% stake. And for a long time, it worked. Richard was respectful. Professional. He understood that Alexander was the vision and he was just the money. What changed? Charlotte's expression darkened. Richard died in 2008. Heart attack. Sudden. And his son inherited his shares. Ethan, 28 years old. Business degree from some expensive school. Never worked a real day in his life. And he had ideas. What kind of ideas? The kind that prioritized profit over people. He wanted to cut staff. Reduce salaries. Increase prices. Turn this place into just another corporate hotel. Your grandfather fought him. Every board meeting became a war. Alexander had 51%, so he could block most things. But it was exhausting. Charlotte stubbed out her cigarette. When Alexander died in 2010, Ethan thought he'd finally won. He didn't know the shares went to Evelyn. She never told him. Just collected dividends quietly and let Ethan think he was in charge. Why didn't she stop him? Because she was tired. And she trusted that when the time was right, the hotel would return to Richardson hands. She was waiting for you. Amelia felt tears threatening. Push them down. I didn't even know this existed until yesterday. Your grandmother was protecting you, letting you build your own life. But she never forgot. And she made sure you'd inherit everything when she passed. Charlotte turned to face Amelia directly. You look like him. Move like him. I see Alexander in every gesture. But the question is, are you ready for this? I'm a lawyer. I know how to fight. This isn't a courtroom. This is a business. A legacy. 200 employees depending on you. Investors watching. Competitors waiting for you to fail. And Ethan still has allies. People who benefited from his corruption. They're going to come after you. Let them. Charlotte smiled. Actually smiled. Yeah, you're a Richardson. That evening, Amelia stood in her grandfather's old office. Harper had shown her where it was. 14th floor. Corner office. Still decorated exactly as Alexander had left it. Dark wood desk. Bookshelves full of hotel management texts and business philosophy. Photos on the wall. Amelia studied them. Her grandfather shaking hands with mayors. Cutting ribbons. Standing with staff members at holiday parties. In every photo, he was smiling. Genuine. Not the corporate smile. The real thing. One photo was different. Smaller. On the desk, in a silver frame. Alexander and a young girl. Maybe 8 years old. Standing in the hotel lobby. His hand on her shoulder. Both of them looking at the camera. Amelia picked it up. Felt her throat tighten. That girl was her. 20 years ago. The last time she'd been here. She didn't remember the photo being taken. But she remembered that day. The hotel had felt magical. Enormous. Like a palace. And her grandfather had walked her through every floor, introducing her to staff, showing her how everything worked. This is our family's legacy, he'd said. Built on hard work and dignity. She'd forgotten that day. Buried it under years of grief and survival and law school and building her own life. But now it was back. Vivid, real. There was a knock on the door. Mia stood there, still in her front desk uniform. Nervous. Ms. Richardson? I'm sorry to bother you. I just wanted to apologize. For earlier. I should have believed you. I should have. You did your job. Ethan told you I was an imposter. You had no reason to think otherwise. But I should have seen it. Mr. Alexander used to talk about his granddaughter. He had photos. I should have made the connection. It was 20 years ago. I was a child. Mia stepped inside. Hesitant. Can I tell you something? About Mr. Alexander? Please. He was the kindest person I've ever worked for. I started here in 2006. Front desk clerk. Minimum wage. I was a single mother. 2 kids. Barely making rent. And Mr. Alexander noticed. He didn't just notice. He cared. Mia's voice cracked slightly. He paid for my daughter's daycare. For 6 months. Wouldn't let me pay him back. Said it was an investment in a good employee. Then he promoted me. Gave me management training. Helped me buy my first house. He changed my life. Tears were streaming down Mia's face now. When he died, Ethan took over. And everything changed. Wages froze. Benefits disappeared. Staff started leaving. And the ones who stayed were treated like we didn't matter. Like we were replaceable. Why did you stay? Because I hoped. I hoped someone from the Richardson family would come back. Would remember what this place was supposed to be. Mia looked directly at Amelia. And now you're here. And I just want you to know that every person working in this hotel tonight is praying you succeed. Amelia felt the weight of it. 200 employees. 200 lives. All depending on her to be worthy of her grandfather's legacy. I won't let them down. I know you won't. You're a Richardson. After Mia left, Amelia sat at her grandfather's desk. Opened the drawers. Files. Memos. Business cards from the 1990s. Nothing unusual. Until the bottom drawer. It was locked. Amelia looked around. Found a letter opener on the desk. Used it to jimmy the lock. Not elegant, but effective. The drawer opened. Inside was a leather journal. Old. Worn. Filled with handwritten entries. Her grandfather's handwriting. Amelia opened it to a random page. Dated March 1995. Ethan's father came by today. Concerned about some expansion plans. He's nervous about taking on more debt. Can't blame him. But this hotel needs to grow or die. I told him we'd find a way to manage risk. He trusts me. I hope I'm worthy of that trust. Another entry. June 2009. Ethan attended the board meeting today. First time since his father died. He has ideas. Aggressive ones. Wants to cut staff salaries by 15% across the board to increase efficiency. I told him absolutely not. Our people are our foundation. You don't build a luxury hotel by treating workers like expenses. He didn't take it well. Called me old-fashioned. Maybe I am. But I'd rather be old-fashioned than cruel. The last entry. April 2010. 2 months before Alexander died. I'm tired. The cancer is winning. Doctors say 6 months. Maybe less. I've made arrangements. Evelyn gets the shares. She'll protect them. Keep them safe until Amelia is ready. I wish I could see her grow up. See what kind of woman she becomes. But I have faith. Richardson blood runs strong. She'll be something special. And someday, when she's ready, she'll take this hotel back. She'll restore what I built. I know she will. Amelia closed the journal, set it down gently, and cried. Not the desperate tears from her grandmother's funeral. These were different. Quieter. Sadder. Tears for the grandfather she'd lost too young. For the legacy she'd forgotten. For the weight of expectation she now carried. But also tears of resolve. Because Alexander Richardson had believed in her, had trusted her, had built something beautiful and expected her to protect it. And she would, no matter what it cost. 3 days later, the hotel was different. Amelia had moved fast. Executive decisions. New policies. Immediate changes. First, staff wages. Every employee got a 10% raise effective immediately, retroactive to the beginning of the month. Second, benefits. Health insurance. Paid sick leave. Childcare assistance. All restored to pre-Ethan levels. Third, transparency. She held a town hall meeting with all staff. 200 people in the ballroom. Told them everything. The embezzlement. The FBI investigation. Her plans for the hotel's future. I'm not here to extract value, she'd said. I'm here to build value. The way my grandfather did. By investing in people. By creating excellence. By treating everyone with dignity. The applause was thunderous. But not everyone was happy. On the 4th day, Amelia got a call from Lucas. We have a problem. What kind of problem? Ethan made bail. Posted $2 million. He's out. Amelia felt ice in her stomach. How? His family. Old money. They leveraged everything. He's under house arrest with an ankle monitor, but he's out. And his lawyers filed motions this morning. What kind of motions? Contesting your ownership. Claiming the share transfer was fraudulent. Demanding an emergency injunction to freeze all your executive decisions until the courts sort out the ownership question. That's insane. I have documentation. Notarized wills. Legal transfers. They're arguing your grandmother was mentally incompetent when she made the will. That you manipulated her. That the shares should revert to the company or be held in trust pending investigation. On what basis? They're claiming Alexander's original partnership agreement with Richard Whitmore included a clause that shares couldn't be transferred to anyone outside the original families without approval. They're saying your grandmother violated that clause. Amelia felt her lawyer brain kick in. Did the agreement include that clause? I don't know. I've reviewed every document in your grandmother's estate files. There's no such clause. But Ethan's lawyers claim they have the original agreement. The real one. And they're presenting it to the judge Monday morning. Then we need to find our copy. Today. I've looked everywhere. If it exists, I don't know where Evelyn kept it. Amelia thought fast. My grandfather's office. I found his journal there. Maybe there are more files. It's worth checking. I'll meet you there in an hour. They tore the office apart. Every drawer. Every file cabinet. Every shelf. Lucas found business correspondence from the 1980s. Contracts with vendors. Employee records. But no partnership agreement. Amelia searched the closet. Found boxes of old documents. Tax returns. Insurance policies. Nothing. She was about to give up when she noticed something. The bookshelf. It didn't sit flush against the wall. There was a gap. Maybe 2 inches. She pulled the shelf away. Behind it was a safe. Small. Built into the wall. Hidden. Lucas. Come here. He saw it immediately. Do you know the combination? No. But maybe. She thought. Her grandfather's journal. Dates. Numbers. What would he use? The hotel's opening date? She tried. August 15th, 1985. Nothing. His birthday? She didn't know it. Then she remembered. The photo on the desk. Her at 8 years old. She tried her birthday. April 23rd, 1997. The safe clicked open. Inside were documents. Carefully preserved in plastic sleeves. The partnership agreement. Original. Signed by both Alexander Richardson and Richard Whitmore Sr. dated January 1990. Amelia read it quickly. Found the relevant section. Transfer of shares is permitted to immediate family members including spouses, children, and grandchildren without partner approval. Transfer outside family lines requires majority shareholder consent. Lucas read over her shoulder. They're lying. There's no restriction. They're not just lying. They're committing fraud. Presenting false documents to a court, which is a felony. But we need to prove it. We need to show the judge the real agreement. Then that's what we'll do. Monday morning, we'll walk into that courtroom and destroy their entire case. But when Monday came, nothing went as planned. The courthouse, Federal District. Judge Patricia Morrison presiding. Ethan sat at the defendant's table with 3 expensive lawyers. He looked thinner, paler, but still defiant. When he saw Amelia enter, his expression twisted into something ugly. The hearing began. Ethan's lead attorney stood up. Mid-50s, gray suit, smug smile. Your Honor, we're here today because Ms. Richardson is attempting to seize control of the Richardson Grand Hotel through fraudulent means. Our client, Mr. Whitmore, has been CEO for 8 years. He's built this company into a thriving enterprise. And now, mere days after the death of the previous shareholder, this woman appears with convenient documents claiming ownership. Lucas stood. Your Honor, this is absurd. Ms. Richardson is the legitimate heir. We have. Let him finish, Mr. Carter. Ethan's lawyer continued. We have evidence that the share transfer violates the original partnership agreement between Alexander Richardson and Richard Whitmore Sr. Section 7.3 clearly states that shares cannot be transferred outside the partner families without explicit approval. Ms. Richardson's grandmother violated this agreement. The shares should revert. He handed documents to the judge. Judge Morrison reviewed them. Frowned. Mr. Carter? Response. Lucas pulled out their copy. Your Honor, this is the original partnership agreement. As you can see, Section 7.3 actually permits family transfers without restriction. The document presented by opposing counsel is falsified. He handed it to the judge. Morrison compared them. Side by side. The room was silent. Finally, these documents are different. Substantially different. Someone is presenting false evidence to this court. Ethan's lawyer paled. Your Honor, I assure you, we received this document in good faith from. I don't care where you received it. It's fraudulent. And presenting fraudulent evidence is grounds for sanctions. Severe sanctions. She looked at Ethan directly. Mr. Whitmore, did you create this false document? Ethan said nothing. Answer the question. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Morrison's eyes went cold. That's interesting. Because you're already facing criminal charges for embezzlement. And now you're committing fraud in my courtroom. Bailiff, take Mr. Whitmore into custody. Bail is revoked. The courtroom erupted. Ethan's lawyers were protesting. Mason Crawford was standing up. Ethan himself was yelling. This is a setup. She planted that document. She's trying to steal my company. Bailiff. 2 officers moved forward. Grabbed Ethan. He fought. Actually fought. Struggling. Screaming. You don't understand. That hotel is mine. I built it. I made it profitable. Not her. Not some diversity hire showing up with fake papers. The officers dragged him toward the door. Ethan twisted around. Looked directly at Amelia. I will destroy you. You hear me? I will take everything from you. You're nothing. You're nobody. Just some welfare case pretending to be. The door closed. Cut off the rest. The courtroom was silent. Judge Morrison looked exhausted. Ms. Richardson, I apologize. This court recognizes your legitimate ownership of 51% of the Richardson Grand Hotel. All injunctions are dissolved. You have full authority to manage the company as you see fit. She banged the gavel. We're adjourned. Outside the courthouse, reporters were everywhere. Cameras. Microphones. Questions shouted from every direction. Ms. Richardson, how does it feel to take back your family's hotel? Are you dropping the charges against Ethan Whitmore? What's your next move? Lucas guided her through the crowd. Into a waiting car. As they drove away, Amelia watched the courthouse recede. Thought about Ethan. About his rage. His desperation. His absolute refusal to accept defeat. He's not done, she said quietly. He's in jail. Bail revoked. He can't touch you. That won't stop him. Men like Ethan don't accept losing. Especially not to someone like me. Lucas looked at her. Someone like you? You heard what he said. Diversity hire. Welfare case. He doesn't see a lawyer. Doesn't see a legitimate owner. He sees a black woman who doesn't belong in his world. And he'll burn everything down before he accepts that I won. Then we'll be ready. But Amelia wasn't sure ready was enough. Because 3 days later, the hotel received a bomb threat. The call came in at 2:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Harper was in his office when security patched it through. Male voice. Distorted. Calm. There's a bomb in the Richardson Grand Hotel. You have 30 minutes. Evacuate now or people die. Then the line went dead. Harper didn't hesitate. Hit the fire alarm. Called 911. Started evacuation protocols they'd practiced but never actually used. Amelia was on the 10th floor reviewing renovation proposals when the alarm sounded. She grabbed her phone. Called Harper. What's happening? Bomb threat. We're evacuating. Get out now. Is it credible? I'm not waiting to find out. Move. The hotel emptied in 12 minutes. 200 guests. 50 staff members. All standing across the street watching police and bomb squad vehicles arrive. 9 units went in. Sniffing every floor. Every room. Every public space. Amelia stood next to Charlotte. Both of them watching their hotel being torn apart by the search. This is Ethan, Charlotte said quietly. Has to be. He's in jail. Doesn't mean he can't make phone calls. Pay someone. He's desperate. Mason Crawford approached. He'd arrived 10 minutes after the first responders. Ms. Richardson, we need to talk. They moved away from the crowd. Lucas joined them. The call was made from a burner phone. Purchased with cash 3 days ago. We're tracing the location, but it's probably a dead end. Was it Ethan? We don't know yet. But the timing is suspicious. He's arraigned tomorrow morning. Final bail hearing. If he's convicted, he's looking at 15 to 20 years federal prison. A bomb threat that shuts down your hotel, makes you look incompetent, creates chaos, that helps his defense. How? His lawyers are already spinning a narrative. That you're inexperienced. That the hotel's been unstable since you took over. That your management is dangerous. A bomb threat plays into that perfectly. Amelia felt rage building. Cold. Focused. So he's trying to destroy the hotel because he can't have it. Maybe. Or he's trying to force a settlement. Drop the charges. Give him his CEO position back. Make this all go away. That's not happening. I know. But you need to understand what you're up against. Ethan Whitmore has resources. Family money. Connections. And he has nothing left to lose. The bomb squad finished their sweep at 6:30 p.m. No explosives found. The threat was fake. But the damage was real. News vans had arrived. Every local station. Some national networks. The story was too good to ignore. Luxury hotel evacuated after bomb threat. New owner facing questions about safety and management. Amelia watched the reports on her phone. Saw herself in the background of shots. Saw guests being interviewed. We just checked in this morning. Now this. I'm not coming back. I've stayed here for years. Never had problems until now. This hotel used to be safe. Something changed. By 9 p.m., 3 major conferences had canceled their bookings. 2 corporate clients pulled their contracts. The hotel's stock price dropped 18% in after-hours trading. Ethan's plan was working. Amelia sat in her grandfather's office. Lights off. Looking at the city. There was a knock. Mia entered quietly. Everyone's gone home. Building's secure. You should go too. I'm staying. Ms. Richardson. If I leave, it looks like I'm scared. Like I'm running. I'm not giving Ethan that satisfaction. Mia sat down across from her. Can I be honest with you? Always. People are scared. Staff. Guests. Investors. They don't know if you can handle this. You're young. You've owned this hotel for a week. And now there's a bomb threat, federal investigations, a CEO in jail. It's a lot. I know. But here's the thing. Mr. Alexander faced worse. When he opened this hotel, he had protesters outside. People who didn't want a black man running a luxury property in this neighborhood. They threatened him, vandalized the building, called in fake emergencies, tried everything to make him fail. Amelia looked at Mia. What did he do? He showed up every single day, stood in that lobby, greeted every guest personally, proved through consistency and excellence that he belonged. It took 2 years, but eventually, the protesters gave up. The threats stopped, and the Richardson Grand became the most respected hotel in the city. Mia leaned forward. You have his blood, his name, his hotel, but do you have his resilience? Because that's what this is going to take. Not legal wins, not FBI investigations. Resilience. The ability to stand there while people doubt you and keep building anyway. I'm not going anywhere. Good. Because we need you. All of us. After Mia left, Amelia opened her grandfather's journal again. Read more entries. Found one from August 1985. The hotel's opening week. Day 3. Protesters outside again. 15 of them. Signs saying I'm ruining the neighborhood. That my hotel will bring crime. That I should go back where I came from. One of them threw a brick through the lobby window. Police came. Arrested no one. Said they couldn't prove who did it. I stood in that lobby with broken glass around my feet and welcomed guests anyway. Because the moment I show weakness, the moment I let them see me break, I lose. Excellence is the only weapon I have. So I'll be excellent. Every day, until they have no choice but to respect what I've built. Amelia closed the journal. Understood exactly what she had to do. The next morning, Amelia stood in the lobby at 6 a.m. Full business suit. Confident posture. Greeting every single person who entered. Staff arriving for shifts. Early guests heading to breakfast. Delivery drivers. Maintenance workers. She learned names. Asked about families. Made eye contact. Made sure everyone saw her present. Unshaken. In control. By 10 a.m., word had spread. The owner was in the lobby. Meeting people. Not hiding. Local news picked it up. Cameras returned. But this time, the narrative was different. Despite yesterday's bomb threat, hotel owner Amelia Richardson is back on property. Speaking with staff. Reassuring guests. Demonstrating confidence in her hotel's safety. By noon, 2 of the canceled conferences called back. Restored their bookings. By 3 p.m., the stock price had recovered 12%. By evening, social media was talking about it. Not about the bomb threat. About the young black woman who refused to be intimidated. Charlotte found Amelia at 7 p.m. Still in the lobby. You've been here 13 hours. I'll be here 13 more if that's what it takes. Your grandfather would be proud. But you need rest. You can't run on adrenaline forever. Did my grandfather rest? No. And it killed him at 68. Heart attack from stress and exhaustion. Don't make his mistakes, Amelia. Be better than him. Amelia finally nodded. Okay, but I'm back at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I wouldn't expect anything less. The trial began 3 weeks later. Federal Courthouse. United States versus Ethan Whitmore. Charges: wire fraud, embezzlement, securities fraud, conspiracy to defraud, obstruction of justice. The prosecution was led by a woman named Sarah Chun, Assistant U.S. Attorney, 42 years old, reputation for being relentless. Mason Crawford was the lead investigator. He'd spent 2 years building this case. And now, with the evidence Lucas provided, it was airtight. Amelia sat in the gallery, watched Ethan enter in a suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, watched him sit at the defense table like he was bored, like this was beneath him. The trial lasted 8 days. Prosecution brought bank records, showed exactly how Ethan had siphoned money through shell companies, how he'd created fake vendor invoices, how he'd manipulated financial statements to hide the theft. They brought hotel employees. Mia testified about being told to alter records, about being threatened when she questioned discrepancies. Harper testified about budgets that never made sense, about Ethan blocking audits, about projects that were approved but never funded. Charlotte testified about board meetings where Ethan misrepresented finances, about her growing suspicions, about being shut out when she asked too many questions. Lucas testified about discovering the fraud, about the forensic accounting, about the systematic nature of the theft. And Mason testified about the investigation, about the offshore accounts, about the luxury purchases Ethan made with stolen money, cars, vacation homes, art collections. The defense tried to fight back, argued Ethan was entitled to executive compensation, that the money wasn't stolen, just poorly documented, that this was a civil matter, not criminal. But the evidence was overwhelming. On day 7, the prosecution called their final witness, Amelia Richardson. She walked to the stand, swore to tell the truth, sat down. Sarah Chin approached. Ms. Richardson, can you describe your relationship to the Richardson Grand Hotel? I'm the majority owner, 51% shareholder. I inherited the stake from my grandmother, who inherited it from my grandfather, the hotel's founder. And when did you become aware of the defendant's criminal activity? 3 weeks after my grandmother's funeral. My family attorney discovered evidence of embezzlement and brought it to my attention. What was your reaction? Anger. Betrayal. My grandfather built that hotel with integrity. Seeing someone steal from it, lie about it, and then try to steal ownership when he got caught? It was a betrayal of everything my family stood for. Did you ever meet the defendant before these events? No. So this wasn't personal? Not initially. But the defendant made it personal when he had me arrested for trespassing in my own hotel. When he called the police and claimed I was an imposter. When he used racial slurs while having me handcuffed in front of guests and staff. Sarah pulled out a tablet, played the lobby video. The entire courtroom watched Ethan say, "You people never listen." Watched him sneer. Watched him call police. Watched Amelia get arrested while he smiled. The jury watched with expressions ranging from disgust to anger. Ms. Richardson, why didn't you just pursue this as a civil matter? Why criminal charges? Because what he did wasn't just theft. It was a betrayal of trust, of employees who depended on the hotel's financial stability, of guests who trusted the hotel's reputation, of my grandfather's legacy. That's not a civil matter. That's criminal. Thank you. No further questions. Ethan's attorney stood for cross-examination. Ms. Richardson, isn't it true that you had no involvement with this hotel until 3 weeks ago? That's correct. No management experience? No hotel industry background. I'm a lawyer. I understand business. I understand law. But you don't understand hotels. And yet you're sitting here claiming you know how the business should be run. I know theft when I see it. I don't need hotel experience for that. Objection. Non-responsive. Overruled. Answer was appropriate. The attorney tried again. Ms. Richardson, isn't it possible that what you're calling embezzlement was actually legitimate executive compensation that you simply don't understand? Is $847,000 transferred to personal accounts through fake vendor invoices legitimate compensation? That's for the jury to decide. Then let them decide. Because I've seen the evidence. I've reviewed every transaction. And there's no legitimate explanation for what Mr. Whitmore did. You're not a forensic accountant. No, but I hired 3 of them. And they all reached the same conclusion. Your client is a thief. Objection. Sustained. Ms. Richardson, stick to facts. Those are the facts. The cross-examination continued for 2 hours. But Amelia didn't break, didn't waver, just answered every question with clarity and composure. When she stepped down, she caught Ethan's eyes. He wasn't smiling anymore. Closing arguments happened on day 8. Sarah Chun stood before the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is simple. Ethan Whitmore stole $847,000 from the Richardson Grand Hotel over 5 years. He created false documents. He manipulated financial records. He lied to board members, employees, and investors. And when he was caught, he tried to steal the hotel itself through fraudulent ownership claims. She gestured to the evidence table. The defense wants you to believe this was poor record keeping, a misunderstanding. But theft is not a misunderstanding. Fraud is not poor documentation. And attempting to destroy evidence when law enforcement gets involved? That's consciousness of guilt. She paused, looked at each juror. Ethan Whitmore believed he was untouchable, that his wealth, his position, his connections made him above the law. He believed that a young black woman showing up to claim her family's legacy could be dismissed, arrested, discredited. He was wrong. And now he needs to face the consequences of his actions. Find him guilty, because he is. The defense's closing was what you'd expect. Appeals to reasonable doubt. Suggestions that the prosecution's case was circumstantial. Claims that Ethan was being targeted unfairly. But it was weak, and everyone knew it. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Came back with a verdict at 6 p.m. The judge asked the forewoman to stand. On the count of wire fraud, how do you find? Guilty. On the count of embezzlement. Guilty. On the count of securities fraud. Guilty. Guilty on all counts. Ethan's face went white. His attorneys immediately filed for appeal. But it didn't matter. The jury had spoken. Sentencing was set for 6 weeks later. Outside the courthouse, Amelia gave one statement to the press. Justice was served today. Not just for me, but for every employee, every guest, and every person who trusted the Richardson Grand Hotel. My grandfather built something beautiful based on integrity and respect. That legacy continues. Thank you. Short, dignified, perfect. That night, Amelia stood on the 14th floor terrace. Charlotte joined her. 2 glasses of wine. To Alexander, Charlotte said, raising her glass. To my grandfather. They drank. Watched the city lights. What happens now? Charlotte asked. We rebuild. Restore what Ethan damaged. Make this hotel everything it was supposed to be. That's a lot of work. Good thing I like working. Charlotte smiled. You really are Alexander's granddaughter. Stubborn, principled, relentless. I'll take that as a compliment. It is one. They stood in comfortable silence for a while. Then Charlotte spoke again. Can I give you some advice? From someone who's been in this industry for 40 years. Please, don't let this consume you. Don't let the hotel become your entire identity. Alexander did that. Poured everything into this place. And yes, he built something incredible. But he also sacrificed his health, his relationships, his peace. Don't make that mistake. I'll try not to. I'm serious, Amelia. You won. The hotel is yours. Ethan is going to prison. You've proven everything you needed to prove. Now build a life, not just a legacy. Amelia thought about that. About her grandfather dying at 68 from stress. About her grandmother spending 15 years alone, quietly holding shares, waiting for Amelia to be ready. About the cost of winning. I hear you. And thank you. Sentencing day came on a cold morning in February. The courtroom was packed. Media, hotel employees, former board members, people who'd been affected by Ethan's crimes. Ethan stood before Judge Morrison. Thinner now, hair grayer, the confidence completely gone. Morrison looked at him with absolute contempt. Mr. Whitmore, you were given extraordinary privilege, wealth, education, opportunity, and you used it to steal from people who trusted you, to betray employees who depended on you, to attempt to destroy a legacy built by someone far better than you'll ever be. She paused. Let that sink in. You showed no remorse, no accountability. Even when caught, you tried to lie your way out. You filed fraudulent documents. You orchestrated a bomb threat to terrorize innocent people. You demonstrated through your actions that you believe rules don't apply to you. I'm here to prove you wrong. On the count of wire fraud, I sentence you to 8 years federal prison. On embezzlement, 6 years consecutive. On securities fraud, 5 years consecutive. On obstruction, 3 years consecutive. The math was brutal. 22 years total. Ethan would be 74 when he got out. Additionally, you are ordered to pay full restitution of $847,000 plus interest. You are permanently barred from serving as an officer or director of any public company, and you will serve probation for 10 years following your release. Morrison banged the gavel. Bailiff, remand the defendant. Ethan was led away. He looked back once. At Amelia. No rage this time. Just emptiness. Like he'd finally understood that he lost. Completely. Irreversibly. The courtroom cleared slowly. Amelia stayed until everyone else had gone. Sat in the empty gallery. Processing. Lucas sat down beside her. How do you feel? Tired. Relieved. Sad. Sad. He could have been better. Could have run that hotel with integrity. Could have honored my grandfather's vision. Instead, he chose greed. And it destroyed him. That's not your burden to carry. I know. But I still feel it. They sat for a moment. Then Lucas spoke. Your grandmother would be proud. Your grandfather too. You took everything they left you and you fought for it. Protected it. Made it mean something. I had help. You, Mason, Charlotte, Mia, everyone at the hotel. I didn't do this alone. No. But you led. That's what mattered. 6 months later, the Richardson Grand Hotel had its grand reopening. Not because it had closed, but because Amelia wanted to mark the transformation. New management structure. Harper as COO. Charlotte as senior advisor. Mia as director of staff operations. New policies. Fair wages. Comprehensive benefits. Transparent financial practices. Zero tolerance for discrimination. New vision. Excellence without exploitation. Luxury built on respect. The event was invitation only. Staff. Former guests. Community leaders. People who'd supported the hotel through the crisis. Amelia stood in the lobby. Same lobby where she'd been arrested 7 months ago. Now she was here as the uncontested owner. The leader. the heir to a legacy she'd almost lost. She gave a short speech. My grandfather, Alexander Richardson, opened this hotel 40 years ago with a simple belief that excellence and integrity are not opposites, that you can build something beautiful without compromising your values, that treating people with dignity is not just moral, it's good business. People listened, attentive, respectful. For a while, this hotel lost its way. It became about profit extraction instead of value creation, about power instead of service, about who could take the most rather than who could give the most. That era is over. She looked around the room, at faces she'd come to know well over the past months. The Richardson Grand Hotel is now what it was always meant to be, a place where excellence and integrity coexist, where staff are valued, where guests are respected, where the community is welcomed, where my grandfather's vision is not just remembered but lived. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for believing in what we could become. And thank you for helping me honor a legacy I didn't even know I had 7 months ago. The applause was genuine, warm. After the event, Amelia found herself alone in her grandfather's office again. The journal was still on the desk. She'd read it cover to cover 3 times now. She opened to the last page, her grandfather's final entry. But this time, she noticed something. A loose page tucked into the back cover. She pulled it out, unfolded it. A letter, addressed to her. My dearest Amelia, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. It means your grandmother kept her promise to protect these shares until you were ready. And it means you've claimed your inheritance. I wish I could be there to see the woman you've become. But I have faith. Richardson blood runs strong. You'll be brilliant, fierce, unstoppable. The hotel is yours now. Do with it what you will. Change it. Sell it. Transform it. I won't judge. It's your legacy, not mine. But if you choose to keep it, remember this. Buildings don't make a legacy. People do. Treat them well. Listen to them. Value them. And they'll build something greater than any one person could achieve alone. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'll be watching from wherever I end up, probably arguing with the angels about proper hotel management. Make them listen. Your grandfather, Alexander. Amelia read it 3 times, tears streaming down her face. Then she folded it carefully, placed it back in the journal, set the journal in the desk drawer, and walked out to the terrace. The city stretched before her. Lights everywhere. Life everywhere. She thought about the journey, from her grandmother's funeral to a courtroom to this moment. Thought about Ethan in prison, about justice served, about legacy protected. Thought about what came next. Because this wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. The hotel was just the start. She had plans. Big ones. Expansion. New properties. A foundation in her grandfather's name to support minority entrepreneurs in the hospitality industry. She had vision. And now she had the platform to make it real. Her phone buzzed. Text from Lucas. Congratulations. You did it. Alexander would be proud. She smiled. Typed back. We did it. And this is just the beginning. 3 years later, the Richardson Grand Hotel had expanded. 2 new properties. One in Chicago, one in DC. Both managed with the same principles. Excellence, integrity, respect. Amelia had become a figure in the hospitality industry, speaking at conferences, mentoring young entrepreneurs, building the foundation she'd envisioned. The Alexander Richardson Foundation had funded 47 small businesses, created hundreds of jobs, changed lives. And Ethan Whitmore was 3 years into his sentence. No early release, no special treatment, just time to think about the choices he'd made. Amelia rarely thought about him anymore. She was too busy building. One evening, she received a letter, forwarded from the hotel. Prison postmark. She almost threw it away, but curiosity won. Inside was a single page. Handwritten. Ms. Richardson, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I understand now what I couldn't see then. Your grandfather built something real, something meaningful, and I tried to reduce it to profit margins and quarterly reports. I tried to extract value instead of creating it. I was wrong. You restored what I damaged. You proved that integrity isn't weakness, that excellence doesn't require exploitation. You proved me wrong about everything. I have a long time to think about my mistakes. And the biggest one wasn't the embezzlement. It was not recognizing that the hotel was never really mine. It belonged to the people who built it, who worked there, who believed in it. It belonged to you. I'm sorry. Truly. Ethan Whitmore. Amelia read it once, then folded it and placed it in a drawer. She didn't respond. Didn't need to. Because the best response wasn't words. It was what she'd already done. She'd taken back what was hers. Protected it. Transformed it. Made it better. And she'd done it not through revenge, but through excellence. That night, Amelia stood on the 14th floor terrace one more time. Charlotte had retired 6 months ago. Happy. Fulfilled. Her work complete. Harper was running daily operations brilliantly. Mia had been promoted twice. Was now VP of guest services. The hotel was thriving. The staff was happy. The guests kept coming back. And Amelia? She was tired, but satisfied. Because she'd done what her grandfather couldn't quite finish. She'd proved that a black woman could not only own a luxury hotel, but transform an entire industry. She'd proved that integrity and excellence weren't just compatible, they were inseparable. She'd proved that legacy wasn't about what you inherited, but what you built with it. The city lights stretched forever. Somewhere out there, other young people were inheriting things. Responsibilities. Challenges. Legacies they didn't ask for. She hoped they'd fight for them. She hoped they'd be worthy. She hoped they'd remember that buildings are just buildings. But what you do with them, what you stand for, who you protect, that's everything. Amelia raised her glass to the city, to her grandfather, to everyone who'd believed in her, and to herself, because she'd walked into that lobby 7 months ago as a trespasser, and walked out owning everything, not just the hotel, but her future,